Hey everyone, we are finally back. First thing I want to do is apologize. I realize we started this back in January and it is now June 6th. Not exactly the plan I had in mind, but, well, we're here now. And we're going to finish this. There's not going to be any more delays, and in fact, I'm going to be uploading 2 more videos of this series right after this video today. So, what this is all about is just the plan we have so far for how we're going to go through this series and what you can expect from each episode. As such, we have about 25 episodes in the entire series. We've only done 2 so far, but most of them actually aren't that long, so we're not looking at a whole lot of time with this. But there are a few videos that are going to have a lot of information in them and a lot of scripting. There's going to be a lot of coding, but of course you guys would expect that. This is Unity after all, and let's go ahead and get started and take a look. So what's next? Here's the episode planner. We've already taken care of the UI. That was the very first episode, covered the structure of it and creating a basic UI. And then we went to say something, making our basic dialogue system. So right now, what we have is the UI, and we can bring up text using either override or additive for it. Override replaces all the text that was previously there, and additive just expands on it and makes more text to what was already there. So we've got the basic. And the next episode is going to be, we're starting on our characters. This is going to be very quick. We're just importing the first character for this episode. I'm going to show you guys the import settings on that and explain the 2 different types of characters that can be used in a visual novel. Those will be single and multi-layer characters, and we'll explain that in the video. Next off, we're going to have quite a few episodes focused on characters because they are a big aspect of a visual novel. So centralized management, something to control and maintain all our characters in the scene as we build and create them. Then we'll look at movement controls, moving the characters on the UI, so that way they can move across the screen, they can have maybe jumping motions, they can slide in, slide out, and it's not as easy as you might think. There's a very specific way to do that because we're messing with the UI. After that, we have emotion controls, changing the images basically that render our characters to show them either angry, sad, normal, different things like that. So emotion controls, we can have instant, and we'll have transitions. After that, episode 7, we're going to be going into a quicker topic for background and cinematic layer control. Music and sound management will implement music for our visual novel and also sound effects. So this is where we'll really start to bring things to life. And after that, adaptive font, which is basically a different way of best fit on Unity Engine UI text. Because best fit is good in some cases, but it's not really going to work out the way we would want when we change the resolution of our game window. The text would actually be changing its size as it's being generated in the dialogue system, and that's not what we want. So adaptive font will make sure that it's the correct size before anything starts generating based on the resolution of the window. And of course, skipping text. We all know what that is. Then the text tags will look at encapsulating text with tags to change the details of it, otherwise known as emphatic text. Then, of course, this is something that a lot of people will be interested in, using sprites in text. We can have animated sprites that are used along with the characters that actually make up the dialogue. So once the character finishes whatever they're saying, maybe you can have some little bouncing arrow show up at the end of the sentence saying, hey, go ahead, you are set to continue. And this was actually a suggestion from someone who watched our last video, loading dialogue files. So this is pretty good because you're not going to want to make all your dialogue in the base classes of our scripts. We'll actually be creating files and then loading them into Unity. And it's going to be a 2-part episode. The first one will just be loading dialogue, and the second part will actually be loading commands that can execute events along with the dialogue. So we'll have events prior to what's being said, along with events afterwards. And all that'll make sense as we go along. Episode 14, we are almost halfway done with the series, and this is just going to be an example video of what we can do at this point, using everything that we've built from that point to now. So what I'm going to do there is showcase a little project I put together, just recreating a scene from an actual visual novel. And then 15, Chapter 1, we're actually going to build our first chapter using dialogue, characters, events, musics, etc. So that is where we'll actually start to really make our visual novel. And history, enable the ability to go back through the dialogue instead of just forward. Then Q&A part 1, which is not a Q&A per se, but more of like in the visual novel, you're presented with choices, and a choice menu will come up that the player can interact with. That will be the question and answer area. Part 2 will actually be the decisions of those choices that affect the story. Episode 19 will be getting into the main menu, which the main menu usually takes quite a bit of time if you want to do it right and make it look good, so we'll cover the concept of main menu, the layout, take a look at some animated backgrounds that we can use, which could include movies or just particles, and then also events for the main menu, how you're going to move around and what you can do in it. Main menu part 2 will be moving from the menu to the different chapters of your story. So since this is relatively small scenes, it would actually be very quick loading and wouldn't really need asynchronous scene loading, but that's just a habit of mine, so we're going to do it that way anyway. And then we'll look at saving files, so that way you can continue off where you left off in the story at a later time. And also we'll be encrypting those data files because they're going to be external files. We're not going to be saving them internally, and we don't want people messing with them after we create them, so encryption will be good there. And then we'll head back to the main menu and load those files. After that, we'll configure the game so that way players can change settings such as text speed, display, full screen, not full screen, different things like that. Then we'll be adding gameplay, because even though this is a visual novel, let's not forget, a visual novel is still a type of game. You're still interacting with it in one way or another. So in some cases, it would be nice to add a little gameplay, make it a little more interactive, and we'll be focusing on that for that episode. Then finally, we'll be exporting the game build, and then we'll be playing our very own visual novel. So that is the end of the series. That's everything we've got planned out, but we are open to suggestions. And, if you guys have anything that you want to see, let me know in the comments section, and I'll see about incorporating it into the series. So if you have any questions, just let us know in the comments section, and get ready for a lot more. We'll be uploading 2 episodes today, so looking forward to that. Alright, see you guys.